Hey guys, welcome to Fit's Fight Republic. I'm Hope with FightFlex. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Tuesday, almost a Thursday. So that's how I'm doing. I don't even know what day of the week it is. Um, so today you might need a towel or a belt. We will be working on the shoulders a little bit. This is an overall, just general stretch practice. As usual, take any modifications that you need. And I'm going to meet you on the mat. We're actually going to start standing today. So let's do that. Just find a comfortable spot. And hopefully you guys, I don't think I'm cut off. I'm always in a new place, it seems. Got to change things up and get your FightFlex in where you can, or teach it where you can. So just go ahead and find all four corners of your feet. You want to lift your toes. Four corners are what's left. And then just place your feet back down on the mat. And you can rock back and forth if you'd like. Taking a couple deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. If you're like me, you can't even remember what day of the week it is, you may need to take more than a few. Yeah. And then you can just start to, inhale through your nose, exhale through your nose, or whatever is most comfortable for you. And then just gently start to swing your arms, relaxing through your shoulders, relaxing through your face. Notice if you're carrying any extra tension in your jaw, in your forehead, and if so, see if you can just let that go for the next half hour or so. Nice. Come back to the center. Gonna inhale, bringing our fingers up to the sky. As always, pay attention to what happens to your navel or to your ribs. Notice if they start to work their way beyond or out. We want to pull everything back into our midline by pulling our belly button to our spine. And then you're going to exhale and just find your first forward fold. So as usual, maybe keeping a pretty significant bend in your knees. You can grab your elbows. You can find any kind of forward fold that might work for you. And then just breathe here. Sorry, I'm going to check the volume. Yeah, turn it down a bit. So in your forward fold, take a moment and just kind of scan your body as we're here. Notice what sensations come up. You probably are going to feel a little something in the backs of your legs. And it's all normal. It's really normal wherever you're feeling it, but just notice where the sensation is. And then maybe just as you breathe, just bring your awareness to that body part. I'm just, again, still moving back and forth on my toes. You don't have to do that. You can just keep some stillness here. Maybe you shake your head yes and no, relaxing through your neck. Again, maybe you're really bending into your knees, allowing your chest to rest on the tops of your thighs here. Yeah. Whatever surface you're standing on, whether it be a mat or just a floor, just notice what that feels like underneath your feet. If you have on shoes, that's okay. Notice what that feels like. Notice what your feet feels like in your shoes. It's all about being mindful, being present in what we're doing. Go ahead and release your bind, so releasing your hands. We're going to inhale to a halfway lift. You want a straight spine, still looking down at the floor, at the mat. Exhale, release back down. Neck is soft every time we release into this forward fold. Again, we're going to inhale to that halfway lift. And release. Maybe you start to straighten your legs a little bit at this point. Maybe not, that's okay. One more time, inhale to that halfway lift. And release. And then just slowly roll back up to standing, probably slower than I just did. Coming back up to the top. Inhale, fingertips to the sky. Again, check in with your ribs. Taking your left wrist in your right hand, and we're just going to bend over to the right. And you don't have to be extreme. You don't have to like really push your Hips out to the side. We're just stretching through our side body here. Nice. Come back through center. Interlace your fingers and then press your palms to the ceiling. And as we change shapes, again, notice what happens to your body. Notice what happens to your ribs. Is your bum pointing out toward the back and your ribs are out? Bring everything back into that midline. And then just gently take your eyes to the ceiling or the sky. Come back down to the center with your chin. And then we're going to take our right wrist in our left hand. Side bend over to the left. And breathe. Again, you don't really have to position your hips way over here. We're just keeping everything in alignment, stretching through the side body. And breathe. Nice. Come back to the center. Release your hands, rolling through your shoulders, forwards and backwards a few times. Awesome. Then we're going to bring our fingertips again up to the sky. You're going to exhale. This might be where you need that belt or hand towel, or you can interlace your hands together, pointing your knuckles toward the floor. It's okay if you have a bend in your elbows, or you can start to straighten out. This first one, we're going to tuck our chin to our chest and breathe. Maybe you pull your thumbs away from your bum here. Your weight is distributed pretty evenly. Nice. And breathe. Come back through the center with your head. We're going to bring our chin toward the ceiling. Really pull your shoulder blades together here. Again, keeping your ribs engaged, keeping your core engaged. Come back to the center. Your chin can, it's pretty centered, but maybe it dips a little bit towards your chest as you just bring your right ear towards your right shoulder. Remembering to breathe. Coming back through the center and over to the left ear, left shoulder. Nice. Come back to the center. Inhale again, open up through your chest, pulling your shoulder blades again down your back. This time we're going to exhale, coming into a forward fold. And just let your arms be heavy, whether you're holding a belt or a towel or your fingers are interlaced. Just let them start to work towards the floor or towards your head. Let me know if they ever get there, because I'll be jealous. Again, you can keep a bend in your knees, resting your chest on your thighs, or you can have straight or straighter legs. Your neck is loose here. And then go ahead and bend into your right knee, and you're going to notice that starts to bring your hands over to the right. And just see if you can't make that a little bit exaggerated. So you can either just look toward the left, or you can start to rotate and look all the way up toward the ceiling. You should feel a pretty nice stretch in your opposite leg here. And of course through your shoulders. And breathe. Straightening that right leg, coming back toward the center. Taking a breath, bending into your left knee. Arms go over to the left, and then maybe you open up a little bit further, maybe even trying to tuck your left shoulder into the inside of that thigh. Bringing your gaze either to the right or up toward the ceiling. And breathe. Nice. Start to straighten your left leg. Go ahead and release your bind. So you can bring your fingertips towards the floor here. Really bend into your legs or into your knees, legs, whatever. If your hands don't touch, because for this next one we're going to tuck our palms underneath our feet. So bend as much as you need to in order to get that. If it's not working for you, that's okay. You can come into any forward fold that works for you. There's always an option. Still releasing your head in this forward fold. Again, you're always welcome to shake it, yes and no. And breathe. Nice. Releasing your hands. We're going to come back up to that halfway lift. Exhale. Walk your hands out, coming into downward facing dog. I like to position my fingers a little bit towards, out towards the sides. Just takes a little bit of pressure off the rotation of my shoulders, off my wrists. And you can walk your dog or start to bring one heel to the mat or to the floor and then the other. If you prefer, you just want to stay in stillness, that's okay too. If you have really tight legs, then you can keep that bend here, bending as deeply as you need to into your legs. And then just breathe. And then slowly release all the way down to your tabletop position. You can bring your fingertips in front or towards the front of your mats or floor, wherever you're at. Taking a breath. I like to tuck my toes. I'm not sure. It just feels a little bit more stable for me. But you can either have flat or your toes tucked. And then we're just going to start to bring our pelvis, our hips towards the ceiling and our chin toward the ceiling. Really slowly moving through some cat and cows. Exhale, pulling your belly button to your spine, chin to your chest, arching through your back. Yeah. And then just moving through this. And you can kind of adjust your speed. If this is too slow for you today, if you want to add in something else that your body is really craving, you can do that, or you can just stick with me. Moving through this shape. Nice. Just a couple more here. And if you're just holding it, that's okay too. Awesome. Just taking a brief pause. Flatten out your feet if they're tucked. We're going to walk our hands back, sitting on your heels if that's okay. We won't be here too long. If you need to adjust, that's okay. Bringing your hands in front of your chest, then you're going to, it's just a release through our wrist. Bring the backs of your hands together, dropping your fingertips towards the floor, and then moving back through that rotation. So backs of your palms, fingers go towards the floor, palms come back together, just making some wrist rotation. If this seems weird to you, then you can do your figure eights, anything just to rotate through your wrist. Just a couple more here. Awesome. Coming back into your tabletop. We'll start on the left side. So again, engage through your core, pulling your belly button through your spine, to your spine, through it, to it. Point your left toe to the ceiling. You want to keep your hips about level. And breathe. And then we're just going to pulse that leg for a moment. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that knee in towards your nose, knee to nose, and then back towards the sky. 4 more times like that. Knee to nose, back to the sky. Again. And as you're coming to this up position, open up your chest like you would in cat and cow. Should feel a little bit of a back bend here. Nice. 1 more. Awesome. Really holding it at the top. Come back to that neutral spine. Release that left leg down to the ground. Awesome. Right knee or toe goes toward the ceiling. Again, point your toe. And then we're just going to find those pulses good. Nice. Right knee to nose. Back to the sky, opening up through your chest. Knee to nose. Back to the sky. 3 more times. 2 more. Last one we're going to hold. Opening up, chin toward the ceiling, toe toward the ceiling, and then slowly release. Awesome. And breathe. Maybe you move through little cat and cow. Tucking your toes, coming back into that downward facing dog. We're going to come out into our high plank. Rolling to your toes. Really strong here. You can always come down to your knees, and we're all going to do that in just a moment. And then dropping to your knees. We're going to bring our elbows into like our closed, our proper, I guess, push-up position. But we're bringing our chin and chest to the floor, coming into a shoulder opener. So you're going to lean forward, elbows go back, bum goes up, chin and chest to the floor. See how my feet are elevated? And then I'm going to place my feet on the ground. Elbows are pointed back. Find your breath here. And then slowly release all the way onto your belly. You can stack your hands. Windshield wiper your hips from side to side. If that didn't work for you, you can always just come either straight down to your belly. You can go back to downward facing dog. We're going to do that a couple times. Go ahead and come into your Sphinx pose. We're going to start with the active variation. So opening up your chest, chin goes toward the ceiling. Dropping your chin to your chest, coming into the passive variation. And breathe. Remember to always keep your core engaged, protecting your low back. Come back through the active variation, and then go ahead and release all the way down to your mat. Fingertips come underneath your shoulders, toes tucked. Push up through your high plank and back to your downward facing dog. All right, we're going to do that a few more times. So rolling out to your high plank, dropping your knees. You're going to shift forward, bringing your bum toward the ceiling, chin and chest, feet are flat. This time you're going to slide through, and we're going to come into an up dog. So your thighs can either be elevated and you're on the tops of your feet here, chest and chin are toward the front of the room, or you can release your thighs just depending on where you're at. If this doesn't work for you at all, you can come down to the mat, or you can come into tabletop. Tucking your toes, pushing back through downward facing dog. Taking a breath. Checking back in. Notice if you're holding any stress in your face, in your jaw. If your shoulders are up at your ears, release those away. Again, coming into your high plank. Breathe here. Dropping your knees. Shifting your weight forward. Bum comes up to the ceiling. Elbows back. Chin and chest to the floor. Pausing here. And then sliding all the way out to whatever variation. I'm doing up dog. You can come back through tabletop, or you can just tuck your toes, coming into downward facing dog. Whew, and breathe. Once here, check back in with your body. Notice what you need. If you need to take a break, that's okay. You need to come down to your knees, that's okay. We're going to inhale our right leg to the sky, left heel sink toward the floor. Go ahead and bend into that knee, really bringing that right knee toward the ceiling. Notice what happens to your upper body here. You tend to start to shift your weight. See if you can't keep your weight in the center of your mat as that knee comes toward the ceiling. Straighten that right leg back out. Bring that knee into your chest, and then you're going to step it up to the outside of your right hand. That might mean that you have to take a few steps. If your right foot stops here, that's okay. Just help it out. You can stay up on your toe here for a moment and just work your body weight back and forth. Nice. And then just drop your left knee to the floor. Hands are on the inside of your right foot. So you can stay here We're getting ready to come into lizard pose. You can also move onto the bladed side of your right foot. You can stay on your hands. You can grab some pillows, or if you want to get deeper into your hips, you can come down to your forearms here. Wherever you're at is exactly where you need to be. If you need to change, if you notice it's just too intense in one position, or you just kind of want to play around with what the other ones feel like, that's okay. Do it. And breathe. Be here for just another moment. Nice. If you come down to your hands, work your way back up to your hands. I'm going to pause here for just a moment. Bring that right hand on the outside of your right foot, and then we're going to come into our half splits. So we talk about this quite a bit because we do this a lot just because our legs tend to, we're on them all the time, so they stay pretty tight. Your half splits might look like this. They might look like this. It's okay. If you're working on a half splits with a forward fold, and just release your chest towards your thigh. Toes are active, no matter which variation you're doing. If you need some movement, working from your low lunge into your half splits, you can add in some movement. Nice. Wherever you're at, we're going to come back into that low lunge. You're going to point your your left toe to the ceiling. So a couple of options here. I think that we did this last week. You can come up to your kneeling position. If you want to reach back, if you have the room, and you want to reach back, both hands, bring that left heel towards your bum. Pretty intense stretch here, quad stretch. If that's not for you, you can have one hand still grounded, or you can just have that toe pointed toward the ceiling with both hands on the floor. And you can kind of play around because they really do work different angles. So maybe you try out if you're able, if you've got the room to reach for your foot. Either way, it's pretty intense. Come out of it as you need to. Go ahead and release that left foot down. Then we're going to come into our half pigeon on this side. So bringing that leg in front. If you're working on really opening up through your hips, you can always grab a pillow. If you've got tight hips, place it underneath that right thigh or right hip. You can keep your toe activated by keeping your foot tucked. You're not probably going to want to release down into this. Most of us want to go here just because, I don't know, we think that it feels good, or either it's that's what we imagine when we think about pigeon. But if you actually stay up, you're going to really feel that intensity in that right hip. It's different for everyone, so you'll just have to kind of play around with it. Keeping those toes flexed is also going to make a difference. But find your pigeon and just do your thing. And breathe. Awesome. Take another breath here. If you have your left toes untucked, tuck them. Lift that knee. Then we're going to step back into downward facing dog, or however you need to get there. Pushing your hips towards the sky, maybe paddling through your dog again. Noticing how your right side might feel a little different than your left, and maybe not, that's okay. You're going to start to put your weight into your right side, lifting that left leg. Right heel goes towards the floor, towards the mat. Bending into your left leg. Left knee goes toward the ceiling. Again, check in with your weight distribution. Notice as you're bringing your knee toward the ceiling, are you having to compensate to keep your body neutral? Or how are you compensating? Bring that left leg back to the sky. Bring your knee in towards your nose, towards your chest. And then however you need to get there, left foot steps up. Both hands are on the inside of your left foot. Roll through your toes a few times. And then go ahead and plant your right knee down. Again, left toes can be facing forward. You can come onto the bladed side of your foot here. You may need something different on this side. You can stay with your hands where they're at. You can always keep that side tucked too. That knee lifted too. Maybe you come down to your forearms. Find some place that you can stay for the next few moments, the next few rounds of breath. And just breathe. And be gentle with yourself. One side always, adds some difficulty or doesn't respond the exact same way. Just a few more breaths. Nice. Gently coming back to your hands. Left hand on the outside of your left foot, finding your half splits on this side or runner's lunge. Again, toes are active no matter what your variation looks like. If you're staying in the stillness or you're finding some dynamic movement, both are great. Maybe a bit of both, depending on what you're working. Bring your attention back if you're holding stress or tension in your jaw, in between your eyebrows. Come back into your low lunge. Rolling off of your right knee, this time pointing that toe to the ceiling. Staying here. If you want to come out to this kneeling position, reaching back, I can find my foot. Ooh, make sure that you're steady. One hand or both or none, you can keep them both on the ground. So if you want to intensify this quad stretch, bringing your right heel to your bum. If you have your foot, your hand, you have your foot, don't slingshot. Release your hands from your foot and then slowly release that leg back down. Then we're going to come into our pigeon on this side. So again, keeping your toes tucked on that back foot is going to help keep it active. Maybe you put a blanket or a pillow underneath this left hip. If you want to fold forward, you certainly can. And I've had people ask too about the angle of your leg. If you've practiced like strict Ashtanga, they say that your shin should be in alignment with your mat. It's a good thing to work towards, but it's not necessary, especially if you're working on opening up through your hips. Just again, be gentle with yourself and figure out what you need for your practice. Awesome. And breathe. Notice what sensations come up in your body. Notice what comes up in your mind. Our hips are pretty sensitive, so sometimes anger, sometimes laughter. Who knows these days? Awesome. You have your toes untucked on that right side. Go ahead and tuck them. Bring that left leg back to the sky or just meet us in downward facing dog. Again, heels go towards the mat. Release back down. We're going to take our knees wide, coming into our child's pose. So you can take your fingers towards the front of your mat or the floor. You can stack your palms, giving yourself a little bit of a massage. If your hips are up here, that's okay. If that's super uncomfortable for you to go all the way down because you have super tight hips, then this is okay too. Everything's okay because it's your body. So there's really not a wrong answer. And then just get connected with your breath again. Walk our hands over to the right for another side bend stretch. Maybe you stack the left hand on top of the right. And as you're here, see if you can't start to drop that left shoulder towards the floor. And breathe. Walking your hands back through center. to the left this time. Maybe the right palm stacks on top of the left. Start to drop your right shoulder towards the mat. And breathe. Nice. Coming back through center, coming through your tabletop again. We'll come onto our bums. We'll finish up with just a few neck releases. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Let it go. We'll do that again. Inhale. Let it go. You might be a little stuffy like I am because every day is allergy season. Then just start to work through some neck rolls. And that might look different for you. Maybe you want to go all the way around. Or you just want to do half circles. Whatever works. Coming back through the center. Fingertips go up to the sky one more time. We're going to exhale, coming over to the right for a twist. Hand can be on your knee, right knee, or on the inside, or the outside, excuse me. Come back through the center. Reset. You can move through a few more neck rolls here. Fingertips go back to the sky. Exhale, coming into a twist. Right hand on left knee or on the outside. Keep singing. Keep on to say that. Come back to center. You can extend your legs. Just shake out through your legs. Point and flex your toes. Rolling through your ankles. Awesome. Thanks, guys, for joining me today. I know lots of changes always, but that's okay. That just means we're becoming more versatile as human beings. So I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Hope you have a great week. Thanks.